Patient intake. It's often the biggest bottleneck in any practice, right? It leads to waiting room delays and just so much tedious data entry for your staff. But what if you could just flip that whole process on its head? Today, we're going to break down a patient-powered workflow that shifts the work to before the visit. And trust me, it completely transforms the encounter for everyone involved.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to follow the data's journey every single step of the way. We'll start with what the patient does before the visit, then move through the new check-in and chart prep process, see how it totally changes the provider's encounter, and then, the best part, we'll look at the huge efficiency payoff at the end.
First things first, let's talk about this big shift from manual to digital. Because to really get why the new way is so awesome, you gotta remember the pain of the old way. Here it is in a nutshell. This is the core change. We're moving away from having your staff act like scribes, trying to decipher handwriting from a clipboard. Instead, they become verifiers. Their job is now to simply confirm the information the patient has already put in. It's a fundamental change in their role, from data entry to data assurance.
So, where does this all start? Well, not in your waiting room. It starts in the patient's living room. The entire process kicks off digitally long before they even think about walking through your clinic doors.
So using the patient portal, the patient actually handles all the heavy lifting. Demographics, their insurance card, GYN history, meds, allergies, all of it. And all of this information flows directly into their chart, which gives your clinical team a massive head start before the visit even begins.
Now here is a crucial pro tip to make this whole thing seamless. Your staff has to verify that the portal intake is marked as received. This simple check prevents that worst-case scenario where the patient does all the work at home, but the data isn't visible when they arrive. It's a tiny click with a really big impact.
Okay, so the patient has done their part. Now let's see what happens when they actually get to the clinic. With all that data already in the chart, the roles of your front desk and your MAs are about to change dramatically.
Instead of handing out a clipboard, the front desk job is now this quick 4-step verification. They mark the patient as arrived, they verify their ID and insurance against the files the patient uploaded, and they attach the documents. Seriously, it's a process that takes seconds, not minutes.
From the front desk, the patient moves on to the clinical staff. The MA or nurse opens the chart and starts their prep. And notice, they aren't typing anything from scratch. They are simply reviewing the intake, confirming allergies, verifying medications, and reviewing histories. This frees them up to focus on actual clinical tasks, like taking vitals and confirming the chief complaint, instead of being bogged down by data entry.
And here's another one of those vital little details for your team. Clicking Mark as reviewed isn't just checking a box. It creates a digital timestamp in the system. It's a critical audit trail that proves a qualified staff member has verified the patient's information. And that, right there, is a huge deal for compliance and safety.
All right, so the prep work is done. Now we get to the most important part, the provider's encounter. This is where all that upfront work really pays off.
Just imagine this for a second. A provider walks in, opens the encounter, and the entire patient history is already there. Meds, allergies, social history, it's all pre-filled. The conversation can start immediately with, "So, what can I help you with today?" Instead of, "Okay, let's go through your entire family history."
This right here is the final critical handoff. When the provider confirms they've personally reviewed the history with the patient, the system logs it. That single click provides the documentation you need to support your billing, and it creates a rock-solid, compliant record for the entire visit.
And to build on this efficiency, using standardized templates is key. For example, choosing a GYN problem visit template preloads all the right fields. This not only makes sure everything's consistent across providers, but also feeds the system's automated coding tools, which makes the billing process even more accurate and hands-off.
So the patient visit is done, but the workflow isn't over. These final steps, closing the loop, are just as critical for patient care and for keeping your records compliant.
These last 4 steps are totally non-negotiable. Sending the summary, documenting the follow-up tasks, managing lab results, this is what formally closes the communication loop. It creates a fully documented and complete episode of care, which is exactly what you need for great patient service and, of course, for compliance.
So, after walking through that entire digital journey, let's get to the bottom line. What's the actual, measurable payoff for a busy practice like yours?
Well, it comes down to this number: 5 to 7 minutes saved on every single new patient visit.
Now, that might not sound like a lot, but multiply that by a full week's schedule, and the impact on your practice's capacity and daily flow becomes absolutely enormous.
This chart really sums up the beauty of this workflow. I mean, everyone has one clear primary responsibility. The patient provides the data, the front desk confirms it, the MA verifies it, and the provider uses it to deliver care. It's a true team effort, with technology making each step clean and so efficient.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about. A workflow like this is so much more than just a software update. It's a fundamental shift in how you use your most valuable resource, which is time. By saving all those minutes on data entry, how much more time could you spend focusing on what actually matters, your patients?